Welcome to another episode of the Time Revolution podcast. I'm Helene Segura, and I'm a time management fixer. And today I'd like to introduce you to our guest, Nancy D. Butler. Starting with just $2,000 and no other source of income, Nancy grew an asset management and financial planning firm to $200 million in assets before selling it. With over 40 years of entrepreneurial success, she inspires and guides individuals to create more fulfilling lives and achieve their dreams while helping business owners boost client satisfaction and profitability by an average of 250%. Her unique blend of personal, business, and financial expertise delivers measurable, lasting impact. Nancy, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, we are glad to have you. And let's start off by giving you some kudos. You have 4 certifications in the financial industry, including the prestigious CFP, Certified Financial Planner. And we just heard from the intro that you built up this incredible business and then sold it. So knowing that you are coming to us with this financial and entrepreneurial background, how exactly does that relate to time management?
Okay, so my background's a little bit different because I started this business when I was in the middle of a divorce. I took my children, moved 70 miles. I had $2,000 to my name. I had no alimony, no child support. And I had never heard of a mutual fund. I'd never owned a stock, never heard of an annuity. I knew nothing about any of this. So in order to the main reason I decided to do this, even though I knew nothing about it, was I felt if their father wasn't going to help to support them, I better learn how to manage money. And even if the business didn't work out, what I would learn would help me to raise my children. So when you talk about time management and you talk about being a single parent and you talk about having just moved, so it's not like I have all these people around me that I know to do business with. I knew no one. So starting from scratch to build a business with no other income while managing children and having just gotten divorced, it's getting myself all back to normal too, because I had been married for quite a while and I had never been on my own a day in my life. So now I'm on my own with 2 children. So time management was crucial. It was crucial for having the time with my children to take care of them and crucial for building the business so that I could have the income to support them and to do a great job for my clients at the same time.
That's quite a journey that you have been on, and you're continuing to help others and teach others even after selling your business. So I'm curious because you chose to start a business without background, without income, without support, as opposed to going out and getting quote unquote a job. So why did you decide to start the business?
I felt if I had a job, I'd be more restricted. And I actually was offered a job at a higher pay than I had ever had. And I turned it down because they were hiring me at the highest level position in the company and there was no place to go. And I was 31 years old at the time, and there's no way I wanted to be stagnant for the rest of my life. So I felt owning my own business, and part of this I was right, and part of this I found out I was very wrong, especially when it comes to time management. I felt that I would have more control of my time because it would be my business. I could determine when I'm working, when I'm home with my kids, when I'm doing everything I need to do. And if you work for someone else, you have to be here at this time and leave at this time. And I felt I wouldn't have the time management that I needed. So that was one of the main reasons that I felt building my own business would make the most sense.
And what did you learn you were wrong about related to being in control of your time when you're running your own business?
The main thing I was wrong about, and especially in the beginning, is you need to put a lot of time into a business to get it off the ground and get it running. I mean, once everyone knew who I was and my business was doing well. I was booked 6 weeks in advance. You couldn't even get a phone call with me without booking it first. But in the
Mhm.
beginning, that just doesn't happen. So how on earth are there enough hours in the day for me to learn the business because I knew nothing about it, get all my licenses,
Mhm.
set up an actual physical location for clients and have a business when I had no money. So figuring out all the financing and how to get all of this to work. And
Mhm.
then, so the part I was wrong about, it took a lot more time than had I just clocked in somewhere at 8 and left at 5.
Hmm. And for how long do you think there was this feeling of dog paddling? How long was that learning curve before you felt like, oh, okay, I think I'm starting to get a better handle on things now? Was it 6 months, 6 years? Do you
I'd say,
recall roughly?
yeah, I'd say about a year. I'd
Okay.
say about a year. And again, a lot of it came to fruition
Mhm.
because I had no choice. I mean, if
Mm.
I didn't do well, my kids didn't eat. There was no other income.
Mhm.
And my reputation to me was number one most important, doing the right
Mhm.
thing for the clients, number
Mhm.
one most important. And when I would get salespeople coming in with products saying, you can make a lot of money on this, I would say, leave. If you
Mhm.
want to teach me how to help a client and how your product best serves them, I want to know. But if you're going to come in here and just tell me how to sell, I don't want to
Mhm.
hear it because I want to solve problems. I don't want to just sell people. I want to do the right thing with every single client I meet with. And by the time I sold my practice, I had 1,200 clients. I mean, it was a big practice.
Wow. With that big of a practice, I'm assuming you did not stay a solopreneur. So you hired team members? Is that what
I
happened?
ended up buying real estate to put my office in. I
Mm-hmm.
ended up having four full-time staff people. None of them were licensed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I exited the business, I did it as strangely as I got in, which today isn't as strange as it was then. When I sold my business, no one had sold financial planning practices. It just hadn't happened. Companies weren't allowing it because you have to have a broker dealer over you that's
Mm-hmm.
responsible, and they just weren't allowing it. But I hired an attorney and a CPA. I About 10 years before I wanted to retire, I started interviewing other advisors, brought them into the practice, had them work with me, had them work with my clients. I wanted to learn their ethics. I wanted to learn their knowledge and how they work. A lot of them didn't work out. And then I finally found someone and I had him run his practice in my office, renting from me for a
Mm-hmm.
year before I agreed for us to come together. And I strategized cases with him, with his clients, so I could tell how his mind worked. And my goal, and this should be the goal of every self-employed person, is number one, I wanted to leave the practice when it was at its best. A lot of financial advisors hold on to clients and sell off the rest, and they gradually trickle their hours down. To me, if you're managing someone's money, I'm either 150% in or I'm out. And you
Mm-hmm.
will know that I keep on top of the tax laws, I keep on top of estate planning laws, keep on top of new products. I mean, even at my age now, not in this business anymore, I'm taking classes on AI and crypto and all of it because I want to stay up on things. But
Right.
so you just have to do the right thing. I wanted to leave with it up, and I wanted the day I left to be no different than the day before I left. That my
Mm-hmm.
clients were still going to be served well, all my staff still had jobs, and it looked like it was seamless. And that's what ended up happening. So it was great.
Hmm. Well, based on what you said, you did not decide to sell spur of the minute because you were bringing in different financial advisors to make sure that they were the right people for taking over a business. So if your business was going so well, and I'm assuming the kids were doing okay, what caused you to want to even consider selling your business?
I had been in it at the point that I brought him in. And
Mm-hmm.
I actually signed legal documents 6 years before my last day, saying when my last day was
Okay.
and how the business would be valued and where the money was coming from to pay for it and all the rules around that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had met somebody and remarried, and he was older than me. He was actually a client, and before he was my husband, and he had retired many years before. And I knew at some point I wanted to retire too. And I say
Mm-hmm.
retire, I'm busier now than I ever was. I'm a delegate to the United Nations now since 2018, and I've written 3 books. So, I mean, I'm busier than ever now than I was before. But there's
Mm-hmm.
a difference. I do whatever I want to do now and say no when I don't want to. Back then, that's a big responsibility. I mean, I was managing $200 million of other people's money. And after 25 years of doing that,
Mm-hmm.
um, I wanted time for myself. I just wanted
Wow.
time for myself. And I wanted to, again, sell it when it was at the top, when it was at its best.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about time management, one thing that's really important that I wanted to make sure this business was long after I left was still going to be there, still serving clients. So I wanted to make sure all my staff were the right staff and were in line. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Here's a strategy that I would like all small business owners to keep in their head because I think it's really important. I've always told my kids, life is too short. I'd rather see you make less money and be happy at your job than make $1 million and be miserable. And it's the same thing when you have employees. So what I did was I sat down and figured out if all the things that I do in a day, what things would I, number one, what things am I really good at? And if I did them all day, I could leave at the end of the day feeling energized because I love it. Number two, what are the things I'm good at? But if I did them all day, I'd probably want to shoot myself because I don't like doing them. And
Mm-hmm.
then number three, what are the things I suck at? And there's somebody else that's got to be better at it than me that I should have in my business doing those things because they love it and they're good at it. So I ended up at one point, believe it or not, letting go all of my staff at the same time. And I knew I was going to take a 5-figure pay cut at that
Mm-hmm.
time. 5 figures? No, how about 6-figure pay cut at that time? I knew I was going to take a big pay cut because then I would have to be doing all their work. I had no staff, and then I'd have to be interviewing and hiring and training and getting new people in. But the main reason I did that, and I didn't just fire them on the spot, I gave them a chance. I told them what it was I needed from them, and I
Mm-hmm.
coached them through it. And I said, if you don't have these things in place by this date, you won't be here anymore. And I gave them a chance, and it didn't work out. So they were all gone. When I
Mm-hmm.
brought new people in, I interviewed them the way I just spoke to you. So, what are the things you're really good at that if you did them all day long, you would love your job and you'd go home at the end of the day happy, feeling good? What are you
Mm-hmm.
not? And then I hired people that who love doing the things that I needed done in the office that they were great at, that they enjoyed doing. Because if you have staff doing things and there's one caveat to that. There's no such thing as it's not my job. So even though these are the things that they do, it's their
Mm-hmm.
primary duties, but it's not their only duties. If somebody's out sick or somebody's gone or somebody needs help, then they have to do that too. But on a
Mm-hmm.
regular basis, on a daily basis, these are their prime things, are the ones that they're great at, that they love doing. If they did them all day, they'd love coming to work. And my
Mm-hmm.
goal was to have an office where everyone was in that position. Because if you can have that, can you, and I don't know that you can ever have that 100%, but if you
Mm-hmm.
can get close to that, think about how great of an office it would be
Oh,
and
yes.
how productive it would be, how everyone would get along, how people would want to come to work. And I did find those people. And what's interesting is I sold my business in 2007. A couple of weeks ago, I ran into the staff. They're all still there.
Wow. That says so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, and when it comes to time management, if
Hmm.
you're good at what you do and you love doing it, odds are you're going to do a better job and it's not going to take you as long.
Hmm. Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. Now, you have just shared some really important advice based on the lessons that you've learned. Is there anything that you can think of that you wish you had done a little differently and maybe a little earlier so you could have experienced even greater success earlier than what you did?
One of the things I find with a lot of small business owners is they wait too long to hire someone, whether
Mm.
it be their first person, second person, or 10th person, whoever it is, they wait too long. Because, like I was just explaining, if you get the right person doing the right tasks, they're going to more
Mhm.
than pay for themselves. And
Mhm.
there's no way a small business owner should be doing the 20 and 30 and $40 an hour jobs. They should be doing the $100, $200, 300 and more dollar an hour jobs. And if
Mhm.
they're sitting there filling out forms and doing paperwork and opening the mail when they can pay somebody 20 or 30 bucks an hour to do that, and they could be seeing clients instead or marketing or doing other things. So the one thing I would have done different is I would have hired someone sooner and I
Mm.
wouldn't have been cheap about it. So, because the first person I hired was a high school kid after school to come and do filing, because back then we didn't have the computer systems we have now, and to do filing until I realized I was being cheap because I had a $1 million client come in and I couldn't find any of the paperwork. They had
Oh,
filed it wrong. And I
uh-huh.
thought, paying somebody cheap, so I'm not doing all the paperwork filing. You got to get the right person doing the right job, pay them and treat them well, and your
Mhm.
business will run well and you'll be glad.
Oh, wonderful. Now you've shared basically hiring and also delegating, teamwork, building up that company culture. And now I have a tactical question related to that. How long do you think you spent onboarding anybody? Because I understand the interview questions were so important to get that right person in, but they still had to learn what to do, what's expected, what's the flow of things. How long do you think that took for you on average?
Okay, I will answer that question in a second because let me give you why I'm going to give you that answer.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer in you hire for personality and you train for skill.
Mhm.
I'd almost rather hire someone that had never done the work before than hire someone that has done it a million times for somebody else. Because if
Mhm.
they come in and have done it for someone else, now I have to teach them to not do it that way and to do it my way. But if they have the right personality, then you can train them to do almost anything. If they have the
Mhm.
right ability and personality, you can train them to do almost anything. So that's what I focused on, not their experience so much, not their background. Well, some of their background, so I could see how they think and are they organized and all of that, because you have to have
Mhm.
that. But
Right.
so I would say, oh, here's a perfect answer to that question. Within 6 months of hiring these people, I had made back the six figures that I had lost, and I was already on track to have the business make more money than it ever had.
Mm. Outstanding. There are so many lessons that you can share with your clients. So you would obviously be a wealth of information for anybody, whether they are in corporate or they're entrepreneurs. Another lesson or piece of information I'd love for you to share is we obviously know you have it together when it comes to running a business. And you're very, very wise in having other people do things that, like you said, suck at or it's not your favorite thing to do. In addition to all of that, do you have one or two daily time management best practices where you feel like that just really helps you keep things together and keeps you on pace to live how you want to live?
Great question. And I want to share a screenshot with you in a minute
Okay.
of what I'm going to talk about right now. So, someone brought to my attention of having a model week. And I said, there is no way I'm ever going to do that. remember, I was asset management, financial planning. And if my client calls and they have an emergency and need $5,000, I've got to drop everything and get them to money. I have to be available for my clients when they need them. And I'm not going to pigeonhole times, or I'm just not going to do it until I did it. It was the best thing I did. And that was one of the tasks I knew I would suck at. So what I did was I put it all together, and I'm going to show you what it looked like. I put it all together, and then I gave it to my staff, and I told them if they did not keep me on this schedule, they would be fired. Because I knew if you left it up to me, I'd fit somebody in there somewhere, no matter what. And of course, there's always exceptions. And they knew if there was an exception, something really important, and it didn't fit, but they felt I really needed to address it, then they were to tell the client, they'll call them right back, they'll get in touch with me, and then they would talk to me about it, of course. So everyone got served well, but let me share this with you. So this is a sample of a financial advisor model week. So there's 3 types of days in a week. If you look across the top, free days, focus days, and buffer days. So focus days were the days that I actually sat with clients, met with clients, were on the phone with clients. It was the days that I actually was bringing business into the company. Free days, and by the way, each of these days, about 80% of your time is spent only on that type of day. So when I say free day, no newspapers, no cell phones, I don't care. You don't read magazines about your business, nothing. That's time for your family. That's time for your doctor's appointments. That's time for yourself, and nothing gets in the way of that. And if you notice, I put the buffer day on a Friday because the buffer day is when you clean up all the stuff. That's when you're getting all the paperwork done and calling people back if you have to, or working on putting together events or marketing or whatever you're putting together or working on are buffer days. And I always wanted that on a Friday, so I would know everything for the week was cleaned up before I went into the weekend, and I could feel really good about having that free time. And I also knew when I came in on Monday, all the loose ends had already been done. And I didn't walk in the door, oh, shoot, I got to get all this done before this client comes in.
Right.
So
exactly.
The other thing I figured out is we have different kinds of meetings, and some meetings with a client, like a new client, would be 1 hour. But if I was showing them a 100-page comprehensive financial plan, as well as all the implementation I needed them, all the changes I needed them to make, that would be more like a 2-hour meeting, and those were mentally draining. So I knew how many 2-hour meetings I could have in a week, how many, or in a day, how many 1-hour meetings I could have in a day. And it was all scheduled that way. So the staff knew you only put this many people of that type of meeting in this day, only this many people of that type of meeting in this day. Our very best clients knew that there were certain hours always available only for them, that they could call and I would be there, I'd be available, but it was only on that day and those hours. If it was anything else, they'd need to call and schedule an appointment with me, or my staff were very capable and my staff could handle it. And then once again, if something came across that the staff felt, no, I really need to address this now and it can't wait 2 days, they'll come and talk to me about it, and then I'll decide if I need to make an exception.
Oh, this is fantastic. And I'm curious, what caused you to put any fear or hesitation aside and finally implement this?
Too many people, which I don't like, and I don't want to be one of them, which is what gets me to do this, get stuck. And if you keep doing what you've always done, you've heard this before, you'll keep getting what you've always gotten. So if I want to take this business and blow it up to the next level, I'm going to have to make some kind of major change, because it is growing, it's doing well, but I want more than that. And
Mm.
how am I going to get more than that if I keep going it the same way I've been doing it? So I had to step out. And I would say with any business, I don't care what size your business is, if you are not constantly searching out and looking for change and implementing the right changes for your business, you're going to get left behind because your
Mm.
competition's going to be making all these changes and they're going to get there before you, and you're going to lose clients and you're going to lose business.
Very important considerations. Nancy Butler, I have a feeling a lot of people will want to get in touch with you so they can learn from you. What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, let me share one other screen.
Okay,
It'll have my contact information and it'll have my books on it. So that's here.
great. And we will also be putting your information down below in the description. Oh, look at that. Here we
So
go.
the above all else is the website. You can go there. The name of the business is Above All Else Success in Life and Business, because I'm an international speaker now and I speak on businesses and helping them do what I did. And I
Mhm.
also speak on the personal side because when I sold my practice, over half of my clients were over the age of 65. I saw people through needing long-term care, um, through death, through settling their estates, through all of that. And the middle book, Above All Else, Independence, I speak on that all the time. It's things
Mm.
people can do while their mind is sharp to maintain their independence as long as possible,
Ooh.
financially and
Mhm.
surroundings and everything. So there's a lot that I talk on, and you can see all
Oh,
that on the website.
wonderful. This is so great. And just in case somebody is only listening and not watching, I want to make sure that they have your website, which is aboveallelse.org. So please make sure that you go there and find out more about Nancy. And Nancy Butler, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great. I enjoyed it a lot. And I hope your viewers got a lot out of it.